Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2025 Chess World Cup. We are now nearing the end of the tournament, and in this video, we will finally move on to the semis. There will be 4 players remaining, and only 3 of them will make it into the next candidates tournament. Already in the quarterfinal, which is this round, Nodirbek Yakuboyev has knocked out Alexander Donchenko in just 2 games. He's in. Now it's a matter of Arjun Erigaisi versus Wei Yi, Javahir Sindarov versus Jose Martinez, and Andrei Esipenko versus Sam Shankland. The last remaining Russian versus the last remaining American. We've got Erigaisi representing India, the only one left. We have Wei Yi representing China, the only one left. There's 2 Uzbeks, which is pretty legendary. And somebody's dreams are going to be shattered. You know, there's just no other way to describe it. So we are going to kick things off in the game between Arjun Erigaisi and Wei Yi. As always, in the tie breaks, they play much faster. They don't play 90-minute chess. They play 15, 10, 5, 3, all the way down. Arjun opened up with e4, Wei Yi played e5, knight f3, and knight to f6. One thing that it was very clear the Chinese Grandmaster was doing was neutralizing Erigaisi's playing style. He kept going for positions that were as dry as possible because Arjun's nickname is the Madman. So he goes d4, which is a very principled move. Obviously, both sides can now trade pawns in the center. Knight takes bishop d3, like this, knight d7. And Arjun would always be very, very well prepared and would go for very sharp lines where he would get good attacking chances. But Wei Yi was always there. I mean, he knew what he was doing. c5, now the queen can always go to c7, pressuring here, pressuring on this diagonal. Knight takes, queen takes. And, you know, Arjun in this game got a typical type of position that you get in these Petrovs where you have some sort of attack. But Wei Yi was just patient. I mean, he played slowly, he played accurately. Arjun showing once again incredible opening preparation. That's 14 moves and he hasn't spent any time at all. And queen f5, just like very calmly offering a trade of queens to the opponent. Arjun plays g4, which is actually, again, the best move. Takes, bishop e6. And a position with a relative level of stability. Now, white is better here, but it's kind of hard to prove that. There's not an easy plan. Arjun plays a4, stopping b5 ideas. And Wei Yi just offering a trade, like very calmly, just going for an endgame. Arjun still pressuring, still has a pretty good position. Typical madman activities, h4, king g2. And then around here, it became clear, like, white doesn't have any way forward. Like, rook b5 looks like it does something, but it doesn't. I mean, you're never going to win this pawn. It's just not possible. Black will just defend it, even though that's what Arjun goes for. You know, just bishop c7. And now with white, you got to decide, like, how much risk am I going to take? And Arjun decides over the next few moves, he's going to do some crazy stuff. Like, Arjun just cannot be contained. He just pushes all his pawns forward. The computer doesn't love it, but it doesn't particularly matter because, you know, the biggest advantage that black has here is like 0.7, and it very quickly goes back to equal. And somehow, like, a position opens up. You know, Arjun gets his passed pawn. He's going to open up on the queen side. He has a time advantage. Wei Yi plays bishop back to d3, rook a2 stabilizing, bishop c7 targeting the pawn. The position's equal, though. There's no clear break. You can drop the bishop back here to sort of prevent any infiltration with the rook. He does that, rook to h4. And now the cleanest move is a5 to just continue to advance. Okay, Arjun does this, bishop takes f4, and now we have a5. So the position is extremely sharp, but it looks like it's going to peter out. And then this check is played. And what's crazy is that here you needed to go rook b2, a6, and then d6 to try to go for that pawn. With 1 minute on the clock, Arjun accidentally allows Wei Yi to stabilize. And now, even though this is not the best move, bishop b7 is still possible, but he doesn't play it. And now bishop b7 is stopped completely. Bishop c6, rook to h3 check. Bishop f3 back. I mean, there was more subtleties than that. Obviously, the gentlemen are in a time scramble. But Wei Yi just goes bishop d3, and white doesn't have anything else. He can't move his bishop. He can't move his rook. He's going to lose the pawn, and black is simply going to be winning. And in an absolutely unbelievable turn of events, the one man standing from China, Wei Yi, is just winning. This is just a totally winning position. You cannot defend either of the pawns. The pawn is going to go all the way to g3. The king is going to go walk along the second rank. And would you believe it? Erigaisi plays a couple more moves. Maybe he's going to get stalemated. He just ends up playing until checkmate. Queen a6. Arjun Erigaisi has been eliminated from the World Cup on home soil. The last Indian standing made it to the round of 8, and he is out. And he is out, and that is the last chance, I think, for Arjun to make the candidates. I think mathematically he cannot make it through the circuit. There is something in the... Nobody really understands how it works, but you get points in the FIDE circuit for winning important tournaments. Let's put it this way. I think he's too far. So this was his last chance. This was the last chance of Vincent Keimer. This was the last chance of actually a lot of top, players. And yeah, absolutely brutal. I mean, I thought that Arjun was going to make it, but he would have had to gone through Wei Yi. Now, I would argue Wei Yi is the favorite to win the World Cup, but obviously anything can happen. Anything can happen. Like, the winner of this matchup will probably go on to get at least the top 2 finish, but anything can happen, Now, you talk about heartbreak. I'm about to show you some crazy stuff here. So, again, Jose Martinez is the wonderful story of the tournament. And Sindarov is just a beast. I mean, he's 2,700 for a reason. So we go to the tie breaks, and Martinez plays b3. I mean, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Jospam showing up, b3 against Sindarov. Sindarov plays knight f6 on the first move. He spends a minute on the first move and a minute on the second one. Like, you talk about shock value. Oh, yeah. Sindarov was shocked. And you might be wondering, like, what's so shocking? It's just an opening. It's just so non-standard. I mean, everybody's preparing d4, e4, all the main stuff. And in this game, Jose just plays very chill. Knight c6. He plays knight f3, castles, and just plays a very normal position and has a nice advantage from the opening. Now white can utilize this diagonal, control the squares in the center. Knight to d2 is the right idea. Knight e4, good idea. If the knight takes, you can even take with a pawn and then put the knight on d5 completely. So we have queen d7. Jose playing very aggressively, very nicely, might I add. Knight e7. It's quite clear Sindarov is uncomfortable. He's down 4.5 minutes. Like, it's quite clear he is not feeling very good. And it just shows you that if you play openings against people they don't expect, and they don't have a particularly large amount of time to react to them and stabilize their nerves, they're not going to play the best. And that is chess skill. If you have like 3 hours on the clock to get the maximum type of, conditions to play all the best moves, I don't know how much that says about chess skill. And for the record, Jose in this game is playing incredible. I mean, he is actually playing like his name is Magnus Martinez. What a name. I wonder if there is a Magnus Martinez in the world. Like, I wonder if some family last name Martinez is like, I like Magnus Carlsen, I'm going to name my kid Magnus Martinez. That's an awesome name. I mean, he's just playing like, he's got the positional pressure. He's stomping all of black's play, but bishop e5 is hanging. Now Sindarov is not just going to fall over. Of course, he's gonna get some counterplay. He ends up getting a good amount of counterplay, and with bishop g4, with f5, ultimately, yeah, Jose's advantage is not so much anymore. I think it actually even dips to slightly better for black. But the pawn is the knight is strong and the pawn is strong, and in the end game, that's really all you need. Like, black doesn't have a lot of pawn mobility at all. So I don't know where black is stabilizing. Bishop e2, bishop h3, very nice find. Pressuring, by the way, on the clock the entire game. Knight to c7, now the knight is jumping in. We trade the rooks, the knight goes to e6 now. So maybe we're going to take the bishop. Rook f7 is apparently a fatal mistake. You needed to put the rook only on e8 or on g8. Once you went to f7, that allowed rook a2. First targeting the bishop has to move, or black has to make some move. The point is that you were going to go knight to d8. I think the idea here was that, like, knight d8 didn't quite work because you had immediate counterplay with, like, rook f2 and queen f6. By playing rook a2, there is no more rook f2 because you attack the bishop. So if the bishop moves, you have knight d8, and you simply win the game. Bishop f8, and he ends up going for, but Jose now chilling out, winning all the pieces. Queen b8, queen a7, there is no queen f2. He is locked in, and this still looks a little scary. Totally losable for white if you're not careful, but Jose is careful. Rook e7. He's going to go e5. There it is. rook d7, bring the queen back, or e6. There it is, e7, e8. Jose Martinez Alcantara has just defeated Jawakhir Sindarov. This is unbelievable. This is a man on a mission. He just played probably like one of the best games of his life. I mean, he played a positional masterpiece. Double fianchetto, dancing with the knights, trading correctly, advancing, creating weaknesses, creating a very strong knight outpost in the center of the board. Just well played on the clock. He never went down on time. He never, maybe even at the end, like it was close on time. Yeah, I mean, they were, okay, right around here was kind of close, but just an outstanding game. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't yet qualify because they have to play another game, and I think you know what that means. Usually, if that would have been it, that would have been it. Sindarov in the next game is like, all right, I got to win. I mean, there's nothing I can do. Jose, meanwhile, playing the copycat game. We have pawn takes, knight takes, d6, bishop d7, nice and solid. And now, Jose plays h5. So he plays, this is kind of like, this h5 stuff in various Sicilians is called Dirty Harry, because it's the h-pawn. I hope that's not like a euphemism for something, you know, a little bit nastier. And, you know, he played h5. It wasn't quite the same position, but in the Sicilian structure for black, let's say, because c5 moved, and it kind of looks like a Sicilian, although white never made the e-pawn move. Jose then played b5. Jose, when he has to make a draw, he does not play for a draw. He tries to play what he thinks are the best moves. Queen c1. Problem is in this game, b5 was a little bit too much. Instead of b5, he could have played very slow. Rook c1, bishop h6. He ended up going for it, and he lost the pawn. And even though he got a little bit of counterplay and then just went completely ballistic, playing like he needs to win, not playing like he needs to just hold Sindarov down and win, you know, like that, Sindarov is like, all right, I mean, this is a lot of risk. This is actually really perfect for me because I'm either going to get eliminated or I'm going to win and I'm going to send it to the next round of tiebreaks. And white is up 2 pawns. He's going to start pushing the pawns. Like, chess is an easy game. You have 2 extra pawns on that side of the board. The position doesn't demand anything special. a4, a5, f4, very well-timed move, attacking the knight in the center of the board. The knight's got to go somewhere. The problem is if the knight goes somewhere, black loses all steam. So here, Jose plays Queen f8. He gives up the knight to bring in his bishop because he's just like, I need material in my attack, and maybe queen h8, and I have rook h1 ideas. And e3 is just very well timed. Just a very nice move because now the queen is always going to support over here. And after queen h8, now I take, because now I can play this. This is another beautiful idea behind e3 is I'm going to just sack the rook for defensive reasons. And there is no rook h1 because the queen covers h2. I mean, rook h1 and queen h2 is covered if the bishop takes, just because this queen was going to come in. Just nasty. Nasty stuff, very high-level stuff, and Sindarov clears out the position. I mean, it's total chaos here. There's a bishop on c1, but white's attack is much faster. Knight f4, knight e4, and Jose resigns because the king is going to have to go here. The queen is going to come in, and Sindarov winning on demand, although I would say helped a little bit by Jose. Like, he did not need to go b5. He made it messy. He stuck to his style. That is how he plays. You know, playing for a win. He doesn't play for a draw, really. But yeah, just a nice move, queen c1, and then he managed to win the pawn. And that's all she wrote. And that means we need to go to the next round of tiebreaks. We got a next round of tiebreaks. Jose just won with white. So I think, you know, with white, he, in the next tiebreak, he drew. And Sindarov goes right back to it. He plays in English. He plays knight c3. He's like, all right, I mean, I had success. That's what I'm going to do. e6, g3, b6. Both sides setting up their bishops. d4 takes. All of this has been played before. This is a very well-known position. Jose offering a queen trade. White plays b3 to stabilize and also move the dark squared bishop. But of course, you can also move the dark squared bishop here. And d6. This pawn structure for black is known kind of, in some Queen's Indian and Sicilians, kind of like a hedgehog. It's like when everything is on the 6th rank. I mean, like just everything. It's just spiky. So to approach it, you have to do it the right way. Otherwise, you're going to get poked, right? So h3, nice and patient move. Knight h5 hits the bishop. The bishop says, no, thank you. The knight goes back. I mean, Jose's already threatening a draw. He's like, let's repeat. No draw. Knight b5. Rook d7, stabilizing on the 7th rank. Knight back to e1. Now, at some point, black is going to be able to go d5. That's right now is actually the moment. But okay, he plays knight back to d8. He's just trying to trade the pieces. Jose's plan here is basically do nothing. Like, just don't do anything. He has to beat me. He has to topple my defenses. Knight d3. a6 kicks the knight out, and we have rook c8. I mean, black is, without exaggeration, doing nothing. Just waiting. Sindarov goes knight b4. This knight comes out to c6. Nice idea. You can't actually take this pawn. The knight is going to get trapped. So Sindarov now has to remove another piece from the board. Things are not going his way at all here. He's going to lose his patience at some point. e4, rook c7. By the way, black can even play bishop g5 here. Like, Jose could have even offered another trade. He goes rook c7. White goes a4. The thing is, white is controlling the position very nicely. Nice little reroute here, forcing black to play a little defense. This is not looking very pleasant. This little maneuver, rook b7, rook a8, like, yeah, he's defending, but his rooks are extremely passive. And now in comes the knight, and even though it looks like black is doing very well, white suddenly, there is wind in the sails. Like, clearly something is happening, and it very quickly gets out of control. As in a couple moves, Sindarov has a very big advantage. b5, take, king h7. And now rook a1 with the idea to go a5 is just devastating. Like, clearly white has made massive improvements to the position, and the strategy to just defend yourself doesn't pay off, but he doesn't play it. And that allows just enough time for Jose to reopen the a file. Now he's stabilizing again. Or maybe not, because over the next few moves, Sindarov starts the kingside attack and gets a nearly winning position. So he completely restricts on this side, rook a2 now to trade the pieces, but he plays king e2, and Jose strikes with f5, an extremely well-timed move, but he has 19 seconds. He's been on the defensive for so long, but he's so clutch with his moves, f5, and now Sindarov is probably going to get a little bit rattled as Jose is back in the game, and it's equal for a little while again. King f2, rook a4 back, but now Sindarov breaks in. Knight takes, rook takes. He's up a pawn, black gets the c4 pawn, but white gets the b6 and the f5 pawns, all looking a little bit tender. What's actually crazy is, this is a huge mistake because I think it allows black just enough time to run the king into the middle of the board, and that's kind of what happens. And now the position's back to equal again, and it is a scramble, and Jose has more time than Sindarov. Sindarov is gaining 10 seconds per move, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So he goes down to 2 seconds to play some of these moves. Rook c3, king e4, and now with black, you had to go rook b3. This is the only move for Jose. He goes here. Check, king moves. Bishop d4, and now white has an active king, an active rook, all defended pawns, and a red carpet for both of them, and this black cannot defend. And in just a few moves, Sindarov pushes his pawns, actually like the Wei Yi game. Very similar to the Wei Yi game, rooks and bishops and opposite pawns. Jose Martinez resigns, Sindarov is into the semifinal, and Jose was up in this match. He was up 2-1, but he loses the match 3.5 to 2.5. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Jose hadn't lost a game in the World Cup until he played Sindarov. He was undefeated in 23 games. Look at the list on that. Like, he didn't lose a game to his first round opponent. Velimir Ivic, he didn't lose. Nodjibek, he beat 2-0. Sarana, he beat. Hare Krishna, he didn't lose a game. He was beating Sindarov. And then 2 out of his last 3 games, he lost. I mean, just, like, the World Cup is absolutely brutal. It is so brutal. And Sindarov moves on, which means he will actually play his countrymen. You talk about the seedings being crazy. Sindarov and Yakuboyev, the number 2 and number 3 rated players in Uzbekistan, now face off in the semifinal. So there is an Uzbek guaranteed in the candidates. But who will it be? Actually, there might be 2, right? But guaranteed, definitely 1, which is pretty epic stuff. So, on that note, we will go to the last match. Sam Shankland, Andrei Esipenko. C4 from Sam. A Queen's Gambit declined. An exchange variation, Bishop f4, all very well-known stuff. C6, e3. And Shankland goes h4, h5, f3. This is some modern, cutting-edge Queen's Gambit declined business. Computers are pushing all these pawns now. Like, obviously, you're supposed to put your knight here, develop your bishop, castle. That's what beginners should do. Don't do this. Do not. I know that they're grandmasters, but you are not, okay? Knight g3, bishop d3, and basically white is like, well, I have some good control over here. I have good space. It's not easy for black to make moves, and so on and so forth. But the position is spicy. It is a little bit difficult to handle. So we have queen d3, g3, white puts the king on f2. I actually really like white's position. Problem is, you can't do anything anymore. Like, there is no plan from here. You cannot push the pawns. They are all weak. You can trade all the rooks and make a draw, but that doesn't seem like the right thing to do. So, all right, this is something. But black is also playing very natural moves. Knight f6, rook c2, king g2. But at some point, you are literally out of moves, and black is not. And now Esipenko begins some queenside counterplay. So now white has some headaches. Pawn in the center is passing. Rooks are pressuring the knight. Very chaotic position. Knight g4 still looking to attack potentially. You trade. Like, this is very beautiful. It's not doing much. Like, you have g5 coming potentially, but black is just faster. So d4, very nice move. Creating counterplay for the queen. Bringing in the rooks. Rook d1. And it is Esipenko who is actually threatening stuff. It's not white, right? So, like, you did all of this, but somehow it turns out that black has all the play. It's a miracle you're not mated, but the rook is covering. a5. But actually, I got to give credit. Like, Shankland plays out of his mind here. He plays rook h2, just straight up, so that there's no dangers. And d4 is now always hanging. And he wins the pawn. He wins the pawn, and he stabilizes his position. He has queen g2 whenever he wants it. Like, this is actually kind of unbelievable. And actually, white is doing fine. White is doing all right. He did very well. His king is a little weak, and this pawn is a problem. But as you know, as long as he just stays calm, doesn't panic, he's probably going to win. He probably won't lose. Win is strong. Queen and knight is a very tricky combo. Now you got to go g5. You got to go for it. You spend the whole game, right? Move 41. You got to go g5. I understand this is scary, but you have to go g5. Not saying I would have played g5, but that was the only way. You have to go for g5. You have to go for g6. You did all of this, but you then stepped away, and Esipenko never looked back. I mean, Esipenko got all his pieces in. Queen d2, all this. Very tough for white to make a move here. Queen d4, queen g1 is a problem. And white is just lost. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. Like, you did everything right, but he needed to be a little bit more aggressive at the right moment. And the World Cup comes down to that. Comes down to this one moment in one game. And queen g1 is played anyway. Unbelievable. Because if you take it, the pawn promotes. And that pawn was the difference. That pawn was literally the difference in the entire game. And Esipenko wins. And he is just a game away from becoming a semifinalist. Sam Shankland with the black pieces has to win. What do you do? Fate of the universe on the line. You are playing black. Carl Khan. What do you do? I played it against the world, and I'm winning. I am literally beating the entire world in a chess game. How about that? The entire world. All like 8 billion people are playing me. d4, d5. We have a trade. We have a pan-off. Knight c3, g6. Keep in mind, Esipenko has to not lose. That's it. So he's in the same situation as Jose Martinez, right? So he plays pawn takes d5, which is a very nice move. Bishop c4, like super stable line. h3, solid, d5. All of this has been played many, many times before. And yeah, white is chilling, man. Like, he is doing super well. Here's the thing. In this position, the best move for white is actually to play g4 and push the bishop back. I think Esipenko wanted to be a little solid, and that can sort of poison the brain when you are in a situation that is must not lose. Like, you don't have to win, you just have to not lose the game. So bishop d7. Now you can just put the knight back on f3, which, okay, he plays bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, rook c8, and, you know, Shankland puts a knight on c4, and actually it's black who has achieved his opening objectives. All the pieces are active, well coordinated. White has an isolated pawn, IQP. Pawn is not doing particularly much, and I can't really say that these pieces are either, and actually it's black who is creating threats. Yeah, and Esipenko plays this, and yeah, Shankland just plays like a man on a mission. This is hanging. This is a target. White goes here. Knight back to d6, just stepping out of the way, stabilizing the center. Rook c1, and we just are going to grab some pieces. Knight f5 is also a very, very nice move. Beautiful piece coordination from Sam. Sam is also definitely sensing Esipenko being down 5 minutes is feeling extremely uncomfortable here. And he's just a pawn down with another pawn falling. and the entire queen side about to promote. So the B and A pawns are just going to walk down the board. G5 is there, rook D8, rook D5 is there when you need it. Esipenko ultimately starts playing a little bit faster, or else he's going to lose on time. But Sam plays confidently, firing B5, B4, A6, stabilizing with the bishops. And now here comes the rook, and here comes the pawn. Like, and this game from Sam Shankland was the best that he has played in this little mini match. Just, he played with nothing to lose. He played confident, and clearly, also, Esipenko played in a very hesitant way. Like, if on move 20, you have, no, not 20. Yeah, 21, 22. If you have 2.5 minutes to 750, something has gone terribly wrong. I mean, it's very unlikely you're going to have an advantage and in the position. So Sam strikes back with black. And we are looking at another situation where the person down a game in the playoff is going to come back and win the match. Like, that's actually, you know, like that, you cannot get more clutch than that. So we go back, we play another Queen's Gambit decline. Now it's a little bit different. This time Sam playing the way the pieces are supposed to be placed. He knows that kids are watching. We have knight BD7. Esipenko playing in the most solid way possible. Here, black actually allows white to completely overtake, but then just very slowly chips away at these pawns. And at a high depth, the position is just equal. High depth of computer analysis, not swimming pool. C5. Pawn takes C5. Sam going for just a very stable approach, putting the rooks in the middle, everything good, trying to take little risk here. But actually, Andrei gets a very nice position. He has some really strange and active pieces, like on A7, knight E5. Now you can trade the knight, and now with white, you have to be super careful. In fact, you should probably already begin trading pieces. King F1 is also a very nice idea to just unpin and maybe prepare pawn to F3. Esipenko goes here. We see Sam implementing his entire plan. But suddenly comes this, and yeah, at this point with white, your heart is racing because you're like, I'm being attacked and it doesn't feel comfortable. So the only move here, right, you have rook C2 and you're lucky this is a pin. So he does that, but it is really feeling like Andrei is taking over the game. White has to be super accurate, and he is being super accurate. He's moving all his pieces, just the right amount of squares. Pawn takes B5, pawn takes B5. Knight back to E2, trying to trade the pieces. And he does, but G3 was a mistake. Apparently, bishop G3 was better, and then immediately going like to the C file. This move gives a little bit of time for black to keep his pieces active, and Esipenko still putting the pressure on. Ultimately, this is going to come down to a decision you make with like 2-3 minutes on the clock and in 20 to 30 seconds. Queen D1, he loses the pawn on B4. Obviously, Sam thought he was just easily winning this pawn back on E3, but he's not. It's actually really difficult for him to take the pawn. If he takes it with the queen now, there's rook B3 business. If he takes it with rook E3, there's rook B3 business. He goes bishop E2, and actually, Esipenko doesn't play the cleanest way and allows the pawn to be taken. Queen E3 was possible, but rook D5 is played. Queen H6 is slight inaccuracy. H4 is a mistake. Apparently, you have to go king G2. Tough move to play. And ultimately, he does win the pawn back, and this is coming, and now you have to just take a deep breath. And Sam finds the best move. Rook B1, king, no! He needed to go to H3. Not only did he need to go to H3, Sam Shankland needed to go to G4, where he is actually completely safe. He walks up to the fire-breathing dragon and says, try your best. Queen G6 is possible, but actually King F4 is even possible, as well as rook G5. Sam, in this position, needed to walk out this way. He might have just thought he was losing. I mean, like, he might have just thought, no matter what I do, or maybe he missed after King E2, rook down, there was a winning move for black, but he had to run out to G4 with 30 seconds on the clock. Like, bravery is rewarded in some of these competitions, and it's just about being clutch, and he went King E2, check. It looks like everything is safe, but it's not, because after rook takes, if you take with a queen, you lose your queen. If you take with a king, I check you on the D file, and I get to D1. Absolutely insane. According to the timestamp, Sam Shankland did not even think here. Like, it says that he just basically played this move immediately, like in half a second. And it is just so wild that if he had run his king to G4, he would have survived. So Sam Shankland loses the next game, and he wasn't able to bounce back with the next one with the black pieces, and he's out. And Andrei Esipenko is the last semifinalist. And that means that Sindarov and Yakoboyev will crown one candidate from Uzbekistan. Esipenko and Wei Yi will crown another, and then the losers will play each other. That's actually the crazy part. In the final days of the World Cup, it's not about first and second place. Nobody cares about the winner of the World Cup. They already got the grand prize, which is actually just a little ridiculous that the major prize, yes, is winning the World Cup, but like it's the spot in the candidates, and they both got it. The real prize is for third place, because you either miss your dreams by this much. To make it to fourth place in the World Cup means you lost in the semifinal and the round of the bronze medal match, which is devastating. It's devastating to lose in the quarterfinals, but my God, is it devastating to lose in the semis, because 3 of these 4 are making it to the candidates, and 1 will not. Now, what's funny is, for all the drama of the players in this event, hey, guess what? Everybody playing in this round of semis is 2,700 level. Sindarov is 2,720. Yakoboyev is 2,700 now. Wei Yi is 2,750. Wei Yi is low-key one of the best and, like, least known top 10, top 15 players. He went to university. He, like, wasn't playing chess for a few years. He comes back, like, wins a couple tournaments. He's ridiculous. He's unbelievably good. And Esipenko has always been good. He's been good for a minute and a half. Like, he's been good for, like, 7 years, 8 years at this point. 2,700 plus. So, wild stuff. Wild stuff. That is the World Cup. Dreams are made. Dreams are broken. And yeah, I mean, you feel for Erigaisi. I feel for Erigaisi, of course, because it's going to be Prague in the candidates. And that's it from India. It's not going to be Gukesh, obviously. I think it's just going to be Prague. Tough. Really, really tough. It depends on the circuit, but I don't think it's going to be anybody else. That's all I have for you today. Semifinals begin soon. Get out of here.